Hi guys, I'm DeBonis. I'm a game designer and I'm also a musician. And I want to talk about some specific lessons that I've learned from playing jazz that I think also apply to game design. I can't fit everything in here, so I'm just going to touch on some of the most important ones. So this is me as a musician. I played tenor saxophone. Fell in love with music in high school, playing in rock bands, and got really interested in jazz, and I ended up studying in college. Played in all different kinds of groups, mostly jazz though, but also hip hop, reggae, rock, and funk. And this is me as a game designer. This is a game that Nick Mikros and I made for the Come Out and Play festival. I started Swordsoft in 2004, self-published a few downloadable titles. And right now I'm working on a role-playing game about the Lewis and Clark expedition. So the first lesson I want to talk about is repertoire, which in jazz there's a large collection of songs that everybody knows and plays called standards, which you've probably heard a lot of these before. The easiest way to learn these is to get this book called The Real Book, which you can't get just anywhere. Because it's illegal, because all the songs are unlicensed. So you have to go into like the hip music store, go in the back, and wait till there's no customers around. And then you slip the guy 20, 30 bucks and he gives you this big fat photocopy book. And it's like half of it's incorrect, but it just feels really cool. So anyway, it's way easier to get a game repertoire because all you got to do is just play a bunch of games. And I think that's very important for a game designer. And you need to play a lot of games that you wouldn't ordinarily play, games for demographics other than yourself, and games that you might not particularly like. You can play a lot of old games, and I think Abandonware is kind of like the game equivalent of The Real Book. Okay, so the way that I learned jazz was to study the greats, and I spent countless hours in a practice room listening to John Coltrane and Dexter Gordon, and really like learning these songs, their solos note by note, playing them back, and by doing this, then you can like create your own sound. And I think that's also a great way to learn about how to create games. If you've never created a game, then you can imitate an existing game that you love, or even just a part of it, and you can learn all these really important aspects of the actual development. So in jazz, in order for the true artistry to really shine, you need all these fundamentals to be completely automatic. It means you're not thinking about your fingers, your breathing, what notes you're going to play, or where you are in the music. It's all just about the musicality and working with the other musicians. So the same thing in your games, your game mechanics need to be completely smooth and natural, so that the player's not thinking about it. Instead, they're thinking about strategy, tactics, the plot of the game, and making decisions. And your user interface and the aesthetics of the game also need to be transparent so the players can concentrate on gameplay. So when I first got really serious about playing jazz, one of the first things I did was to learn the basics of the other instruments I was playing with. A little bit of drums, bass, guitar, and keyboards. I'm not an expert in any of those instruments, but I know how to play them and what you're thinking about when you're playing them and their role in the band. And I think each of those instruments has an equivalent in a game design or a game development team. So there's the bass and drums, which are they're the backbone of the band, and kind of their equivalent is programming. There's the melody instrument, which like the saxophone, like what I play. That's why the song exists, and that the equivalent of that is game design. There's a harmonic instrument, usually a keyboard or a guitar, and that adds color and really makes the song palatable. And that's the art, writing, and music. So you need to know all these basics, and as a game designer, you need to know a little bit of art, writing, music, a little bit of programming. Like you should know what this program will do, and so that you can convey your ideas to the team that you're working with. And so that you can tell them, so that they can actually get what you envision right the first time around. One thing that jazz musicians are great at doing is jamming, and like getting together in informal settings and just playing music with each other not music for an audience, but music for the people playing it. You learn a lot by doing this. You get to test your ideas on your peers, see their reaction, meet other people, see who you work well with. So you can do the exact same thing with games like these guys did. Obviously, this is making games not for an audience, but for the people making it, so that you can learn through the process and you can get influenced by the people you're working with. So, as a musician and for games, there's two ways to get new ideas for things. Those are influence and inspiration. And as a musician, I got a lot of my influence for jazz from hip hop and reggae. But so it influence that comes from within your medium, and often other genres within the medium. But it's not necessarily where innovation comes from. And innovation comes from inspiration, which comes from outside of your medium. Often this is other art forms, life experiences, traveling, and it's very personal. And this is one place where musicians really kick our asses, and it's where we really need to improve if we want to be seen as a real art form. So you can see, here's a couple of my games. You can see that a lot of my inspiration for my games comes from music. And likewise, a lot of my music inspiration comes from games that I play and work on. Lately, a lot of my game ideas have been coming from another interest of mine, which is history, which should be an entirely different topic. So in conclusion, a lot of the best ideas come from when diverse interests collide. So it's important to experience a wide variety of different interests and do things other than